Continuing on in section 1.3, here we're going to combine like terms to get the simplest form of each expression. So remember that in order to combine like terms, guys, our variables have to be the exact same. So I can put my x squareds together, and I can put my y squareds together. We keep our variables exactly as they're written. So my x squared stays in x squared, and I add up my coefficients. And remember, the sign goes with our numbers. It's like adding the opposite. So 7 plus a negative 4, or 7 minus 4, gives me 3. We have to keep the sign in front so that we can move things around and commute them like that. Here, I keep my y squared, and I can add up my number parts. 3 plus 2 gives me 5, and I add those up. Usually we put them alphabetical, but not the end of the world if you don't. On B here we've got parentheses, and we need to get rid of our parentheses before we can add and subtract. So I'm going to distribute my negative and distribute my 2. Think about this as like a negative 1. So negative 1 times 3 is negative 3k, and negative 1 times 1m is minus m. Here I get plus 2k. And then a positive 2 times a negative 4 gives me negative 8m. Now we can combine the variables that are exactly the same. I can put my k's together. Negative 3 plus 2 gives me negative 1k. And my m's together. And remember, the signs go with those. So it's negative 1m plus negative 8m. Let me fix that there. Sorry, which gives me negative 9m. And again, we kept those variables exactly as they were written. Let's try A here. I have negative 4j squared minus 7k plus 5j plus j squared. So j squared, see if we have any more. I do. I have a k but no more k's, and I have a single j to the first power. Okay, that cannot go with my j squareds. Those are not exactly the same. They have to be exactly the same. So when I combine my negative 4 with my 1, I get negative 3j squared. Then I get plus 5j, and lastly minus 7k. Again, the sign goes with that. Remember, we talked about adding the opposite, so it's actually plus a negative 7k. And let's try B here. Again, whenever we have parentheses, we have to get rid of those first, so I'm going to go ahead and distribute. It's like a negative 1 times 8a and a negative 1 times 3b, which gives me negative 8a and minus 3b. Here I get 10 times 2, which is 20a, and 10 times negative 5 is negative 50b. The things we can combine are the things that have the exact same variable parts. My a's are the same, and my b's are the same. So I can take negative 8 plus 20 and get 12a. And I can take negative 3 minus 50, get minus 53b. Again, signs go with the numbers. Technically, we're changing subtraction to adding the opposite, and then we can commute those. So it's negative 3b plus negative 50b, which gets me to negative 53b. Quick recap here. Some mathematical phrases and real-world quantities can be represented using algebraic expressions. Variables can represent quantities in real-world situations and in patterns, and the properties that apply to real numbers also apply to variables that represent them. And that's all I have for section 1.3.